Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Tomorrow is Dead. You would never guess that there was chaos happening behind the scenes right before I pushed that button, especially because it's definitely not still happening.
It's not still happening.
The cat butt might be a good indication.
Welcome back to season 2 of Tomorrow is Dead. Not a whole lot of announcements to get through today. Rather, I don't know if there are any, so if you are curious to know what Rule of Lore is up to and what's happening the rest of this week or next week, the best place to check that out is our Discord in our announcements channel, where we will have all that laid out for the week. Because we were recording this in the past and you're watching this in the future, we have no idea what's happening this week right now. So just go check it out. We'll see you there. There's probably a link to that currently being put in chat. But we also, I forgot to plug this last time, and I keep forgetting about it, but it's so damn cool. We have merch. We have merch. We have the Tomorrow is Dead Season 1 collage shirt, which has
so
designed by our
cool.
very own Breedadonin. Has all kinds of items and Easter eggs from the first season of Tomorrow is Dead. It's very cool, a design concept that we've had in the works literally since the first season. But at the time, there was just no good way of, like, getting it out to everybody. So we were like, we'll save it for if we ever do a season 2. And here we are. So, yeah, you can go get yourself one of those because they are very cool. I think that's it, right? That's pretty much it. That's all we got as far as our announcements go.
I believe that is it.
Sounds good. All right. Well, without any further ado, I'm going to take us directly to the title sequence, and we'll jump into today's totally fine
Trauma?
I was going to say episode, but sure, we'll go with trauma.
Yes.
I love you all dearly. I love you all dearly.
All right.
Oh, no.
Hi. How did it get worse?
Yeah.
He knows where the damn treats are. He's trying to get them.
The cats have multiplied.
All right. Well.
Oh, rascal.
Oh my god. Cool.
He's
It'll
got
be
big-
part of the game too.
Big little scamp energy right now.
Here you
The
go.
zombies won't stand a chance
Not even
against
a little
these
bit.
cats.
You guys will just hear him
Just
munching in the background. All right.
I watched that happen. The first thing I saw was little cat face, and then there was just a whole ass body coming out. Just
It's little scamp time. I don't know.
yeah, it's little scamp hours here at Rule of Lore.
Just before we went live, I picked up one of my cats and just held him like big, long, slinky cat, and then carried him out of the room.
All right. So, let's attempt a recap. I'm gonna go pretty fast through it, since a lot of what there is to recap was a lot of conversations between various characters, scenes taking place, of like sort of trying to kind of process what has happened already and what is coming next. Most of what we spent time on last time was the kind of establishing life in the bunker now that you guys have control of it. Some of the highlights of last session were Casey and Gabby starting up a Chopped sort of for the bunker edition, for the bunker's entertainment as a way of kind of keeping spirits up and creative usage of their limited supply of food during a time of mild rationing. And it seemed to have gone over as a success. However, not everyone was fully engaged in the proceedings as Maisel, stepping outside to get some air after seeing the bunker kind of engage a little bit more, the two groups of survivors kind of starting to come together. Maisel ran into Frankie and had a brief conversation about how she feels about the future of the bunker and how, specifically, the fact that there is a whole group of people who have it out for them, who will never stop. And that until the Seth McCabe's group in Salida are dealt with, that the group of survivors in the bunker will never truly be safe. Recognizing that Maisel was going to do it one way or another with or without him, Frankie offered no real opinion as to whether he or not he thought what Maisel was doing was good or right, but wasn't about to let her go off by herself and do it. So,
Really had to twist the arm, though.
and everybody felt completely fine about this and had no opinions about any of this.
Everyone was fine. No, we hated it.
Oh, goodness.
Maisel left a letter for Casey and for Shaw and for James, letting them know what she was doing and what they should kind of look after in her absence, which went over great with everybody involved. And then as Maisel and Frankie took off, Kit, having overheard their earlier conversation, caught up to them and decided that she was going to come along because she wasn't about to let the group fracture again in quite the same way. And so, yeah. With that, the three of them began something of a trek back to Salida as Casey and the others discovered the letter that Maisel had left. They spent some time discussing and trying to figure out how they were going to proceed in Maisel's absence. When we left off, Maisel had witnessed the execution by some of McCabe's people of a group of survivors, stragglers, that were later revealed to have been members of the previous haven at the university, who had managed to survive the fires and the throngs of the dead, but not managed to survive passage through Salida, thus solidifying Maisel's conviction. Where we pick up today. Hold on, I have a thing. This isn't ready. We open up on a sort of gravel road, a sort of the last kind of like the vestiges of snow still on it. The beginning of the first thaw after winter, evident in the rivulets of water that stream from them. A pair of booted feet run past. Dusty, old, worn kind of cowboy boots just running past. And we cut to another pair of booted feet, hiking boots, just sort of running down in pursuit. And as we kind of zoom out, we hear a gunshot, and the first pair of booted feet stop. Seth McCabe, hands up, turns around slowly. As Maisel, you run up, pistol pointed right at him. He turns to look at you, slowly. And as you face down the man that you've spent the better part of the last several months, just sort of antagonizing and gradually sort of whittling away at his forces, you look into his face, and it's the whole thing has been leading up to this final moment. He turns and looks at you, his sort of like kind of graying brown hair, bomber jacket, as he sort of turns and looks at you and says, You're faster than I thought.
Always have been. Stop.
So? Now what? You gonna shoot me?
Plan.
I'd say at this point he says, you might, if you don't, he kind of like gestures. You, Maisel, without even looking, you can hear the sounds of like a pair of feet behind you, or a couple of pairs of feet behind you. He says, kind of figured this would end up on an overland. He says, had a couple of my people waiting. He says, come on, why don't you say we stop this?
You're the one that came after us.
There's an you hear a click behind you, Maisel, as a weapon is readied, and then you hear another gunshot. Maisel, you don't flinch at this, but Seth does. He kind of like head kind of goes down, looks around, distant, like not terribly far, but like far enough to be out of sight. Frankie, you like scope rifle ready, just cock, like bring the kind of pull the bolt action back in. And
That's excellent.
Maisel, you hear somebody drop behind you.
How many more of your people have to die for you?
Okay. You sort of put it down. You hear the sound of somebody behind you setting something heavy and metal on the ground onto the gravel behind you, and then stepping away. I will admit, I did not expect this from you. I mean, I saw that fire in your eyes when I first met you, but I mean, you brought the whole damn thing crashing down.
You don't mess with my people.
I can see that. I'd say at this point, Kit, having watched the last one of them set their weapon down, like you sort of emerge from where you were kind of hiding on the side, kind of picking up the weapons on the ground that were left, and you turn kind of to see, watching this sort of all play out in front of you. Well, what do you think? You want me on my knees? Or should I stay standing? Or would you rather I turn away?
You're not even gonna beg?
You think after everything we've been through? Come on.
What do you want me to do with your people?
He sort of looks down for a moment and says, some kind of last request? Is that what this is?
Sure. Do you actually care about the people that you've put under your thumb that allows you to execute anyone that you come across? Or are you just going to...
You watch, this is for the first time he puts his hands down, he takes one step towards you and he says, of course I care. Everything I've done was for those people.
You have a lot of ways, you have an interesting way of showing it.
Yeah? You're the one that's been killing him.
That is fair. But you started this war. Everything you've done up until this point has led to this inevitability. One of these days, someone that you've wronged is gonna come after you. It just happens to be me.
Yeah. Well. He says, you do whatever you think is right. I could stand here and tell you to take care of him, but you and I both know that there's no guarantees. There's no way for you to know who's gonna accept it and who's the proverbial snake in the grass, so you're gonna have to figure that one out for yourself. My question stands. On my knees or on my feet?
Okay. I think you see Maisel, instead of responding, just slowly steps forward, gun up, just staring down Seth, though Frankie and Kit concede that her other hand, or she's, as much as her face is set, it seems to you that she was maybe looking for Seth to give her a reason not to.
I think if Kit sees that, she's not going to hesitate. I think I'm going to pick up the weapon that I picked up. And as Maisel's approaching, I'm going to take the shot.
Okay.
At Seth, I assume? Not at me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just double checking.
First things first, Kit. I want you to roll to handle your fear. This could be a wits, this could be an empathy. You don't add stress to this, so.
Okay. And just a flat?
Yep.
Okay, well, they're both the same number, so. That is one success.
Okay. Great. Then.
There's a 6, a 1, and a 2.
A gunshot rings out in the kind of crisp morning air. Maisel, you sort of are holding the gun pointed out. You haven't fired, but you see like a sort of bloom of crimson appear at Seth's chest. And he just sort of looks at you, Maisel, and just falls down onto his knees and just sort of like kind of looks down, and like you can see like a look of disbelief on his face, like he can't quite like comprehend exactly what is happening, and then he just sort of see you on the other side, and then he just sort of slumps down and collapses.
We just player knowledge. We do know that if you don't shoot them in the head, they turn into zombies, right?
Yes.
Cool. I am now gonna shoot him in the head because I know he's dead, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. You.
Killing zombies is different than killing a human. At the time that the human's dead, Maisel's just like panic. Like, oh shit.
Yeah. You walk up, sort of looking at him there, as he kind of like he's sort of like, is still looking up at you from the ground, and then you see his eyes sort of like kind of drift down and just sort of focus on the road, and then they just sort of go blank. As you stand there over him, you just sort of look down at the man who is basically occupied most of your uh, anxiety, your anger, your rage over the last several months. And you watch, just sort of looking down at him for a moment. You very briefly watch the change start to come over, and right before he would probably animate, another gunshot rings out as you take that shot.
Yeah, and before I do, I just say, even you don't deserve that. And I shoot him.
Frankie,
Frankie.
you watched all of that happen just now.
Yeah, I think Frankie will rejoin both.
There's still
Kit
that
and-
one. There's still that one guy back there.
Yeah,
right?
that person, basically from the moment Kit came out of the underbrush, basically just went down onto her knees and was just sort of like waiting. Like, she didn't even wait to be told. Her hands are on the back of her head. She's just sort of standing there here, like kneeling there watching all of this, like a mouth sort of slightly agape, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Frankie just emerges from the woods, wearing bits of that netting that he scavenged back in the beginning of their movement, and has like attached it to his armor and has attached foliage to it and has put mud on his face because he totally gillied up, I think, for this event.
Cute.
Kind of looks like kind of looks like the environment around as he kind of just pops up behind everyone. It's done.
Does Seth have a walkie-talkie on him?
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab it. And I will activate it. And I say, your leader is dead. So I'm sure that's what you knew was going to happen. You can either follow in his footsteps or turn your life around. You know what the people you've wronged are capable of. I hope you take this as a lesson and a warning. Do something better with your lives. And I'll stop. No.
Maisel, I want you to make a leadership roll here. And you are using the walkie-talkie. It counts this time.
Literally using the walkie-talkie.
Question: how much stress do I?
I'm gonna roll a double low here and to tell you how much stress there is.
So much.
Cool.
Oh my god. You have 3 stress.
Great. At least I get more dice.
That's true. You get more dice.
At least I get more dice. Alright, let's see which ones are rolling good. That one's a 6, that one's a 6. That's a 5, and that one's a 5, and that one's a 5. Beautiful! Oh, that one's a 60. Okay, so it's... So I get 6, and then I get 3 stress die.
How many are rolling total?
9.
Okay.
Oh wait, plus the walkie-talkie, sorry.
Yep. Plus the walkie-talkie.
10.
10.
Look, she might be having a crisis, but she's still persuasive.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead and roll.
That's pretty good. I didn't roll bad on any of my stress die, but I rolled 3
God.
6s.
Okay.
Whoa. Pretty
Um,
good. Okay.
Out of 10. Look.
You there's no reply immediately over the walkie-talkie. Yeah, there's no reply. Actually, you hear there's about a minute goes by, and then you hear the walkie clicks, and you hear like a gruff man's voice come over and saying, "Where is he?"
I don't. I tell them where we are,
Mhm.
basically. Feel free to bury him. Give him whatever you guys desire. He's not a zombie.
There's another pause, and then you just hear, all right. A few minutes go by, and eventually you hear a vehicle approaching.
Mm-hmm.
You see just like an old beat-up station wagon, that has like a lot of like metal grating that has been welded to the over the windows, and to look sort of kind of almost cage-like. A big like cargo rack has been set on top of it, and in front of that, a sort of like a hatch has been cut into the roof, out of which a man holding a rifle is sort of standing, looking out. And as it pulls up next to you, the door opens, and a big sort of like grizzled looking, like heavily, like very bearded, like this is very like mountain man looking type of individual, steps out, looks around at the scene, says, "Lydia, you good?" She looks up and just nods. Says, he walks up to you, Maisel. Says, "We've agreed that we're heading out, going south. The place is yours. Only ask that you let us take whatever supplies we can get our hands on from our base."
Of course. My intention is not to leave you stranded.
He shakes his head. He says, "All due respect, I don't give a flying fuck what your intentions were. You won. That's it. This is over." Goes, "Santiago, let's go. Let's get him." Somebody else opens a car door, and a couple of them get out. You kind of step aside as they start kind of like wrapping McCabe's body in a tarp. They pick it up, set it onto the cargo rack, and then they, without another word, they load back up and drive away.
Once they're gone, I think Maisel just drops the gun and everything and just kind of just collapses to the ground.
Are we are we? I think Frankie might try to start like a fire to warm up a little bit.
Okay.
I don't think it's
it is morning, but even so, the air is cool, and now that the adrenaline has kind of cooled down from your actions this morning, kind of the final actual assault on the air base, you're starting to feel the early morning chill of late winter. So as you start kind of setting up this fire, the welcome warmth of it begins to kind of like wash over you. What were you saying, Allison?
I don't think Kit has spoken or moved really. I think she just kind of watches.
When Frankie is gone, or getting wood or whatever, Maisel, without looking up, will just say very shakily, "Thank you. Thank you for everything. And I'm sorry."
second, she stays quiet, but she just kind of gives a small nod. And then she finally drops the gun.
Yeah, Maisel will just kick her pistol, like, just far away. Just...
Maisel, feeling everything that you're feeling in this moment, there is, through that intense cloud of emotional turmoil, there is a single thought that pierces through all of it. And now that this is over, you kind of turn looking towards the mountain, and that thought sort of enters. Now what? For months, this was the focus of Maisel's single-minded determination. Now it's just over. So, as the three of you kind of begin gathering around Frankie's fire, we will kind of go back a little bit. Over the course of the last several months, life in the bunker has settled and changed significantly. In the wake of Maisel, Frankie, and Kit's disappearance, you all have sort of doled out responsibilities. And John, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is my guess. Actually, no. Before we get to that, I have some questions. John, do you think that Maisel is still your PC anchor?
Ooh,
Oh, shit.
that's an excellent question.
And additionally, and you don't have to, you can answer in any order, but Gabby, do you think that Frankie is still your PC anchor?
How many months has it been?
It has been about 3 or 4 months, during which time you haven't had direct contact with them necessarily.
Right.
Up until at one point, the scouts discovered a dead drop with a note that contained supplies that had been discovered by like a cache of McCabe's supplies that had been discovered by the other three and left behind for you guys to find. And from that point on, basically, there is sort of a steady kind of like back and forth, with Shaw deciding that an important thing to do is to make sure that if they're out there, then they need to be occasionally resupplied. And this begins sort of like a months-long campaign of back and forth, sort of whatever supplies and things like that the three out in the field can spare, or that they'd find, get left in a dead drop location. With updates as to the state of things out there, and then the same going the other way.
Proof of life.
Yeah.
Follow-up question before I answer that.
Alive. Yeah.
How long before that first dead drop?
Oh.
I am going to roll a double high and tell you how many weeks it is.
Crazy.
It is 5 weeks.
Become best friends.
5. Cool.
Yeah, because after about a month, we were basically like, we did not bring enough supplies.
Salida is about a day's drive away.
Yeah,
drive, which means it's probably 4 or 5 days walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think after after about 4 weeks, I think Casey probably would have begun to assumed the worst. So, as much as I want, I'm torn on this. I want to say yes. There's a part of Casey. I think yes for now.
Okay.
I think yes for now. I think there was a part of Casey that was ready to give up. And then once there was some avenue of, I don't know if that's going to stay that way after Maisel comes back. We'll see. We'll see how that all shakes out.
All right. And Gabby?
I think Gabby is calling into question PC anchors in general. Obviously, with those words, right? Because our characters are going to think, like, oh, there goes my PC anchor. But been thinking a lot over the past 5 weeks and cumulatively over the past 3 months about dependency. And how these friendships, how these relationships are evolving. So I think that Gabby may not currently have a PC anchor.
Okay. Sounds good.
But that's okay. Maybe.
So
to be determined.
I'll come back to that, because first I want to say this. John, correct me if I'm wrong. But I sort of see Casey at first starting to kind of fall into the same trap that Maisel did in this position of leadership. Sort of taking it all on and kind of following Maisel's example of being the person that everything kind of goes through. How do you think this plays out for Casey?
I think that Casey has probably been left a situation in which Maisel engineered it such that everything goes through her, and that's what Casey is left. And I think it's easy, especially in a time of sort of crisis for her like this, I think it's easy to fall back into that. I think that, she goes, oh my god, there's all of this stuff that she was managing, and begins just kind of takes it all on. And because there's so much that must be done in the early weeks of having this place, she sleeps very little and is either and also is taking on her own things that she knew needed to happen for the not just the immediate function of the bunker, but the happiness of the people in the bunker. And so has taken on everything that Maisel was doing in terms of logistics, and then was also doing that. And I think there comes a point eventually where she realizes that she can't do that forever, that she's just she's mortal.
I think we probably would have had a moment.
Yeah.
Seeing that.
Yeah, so let's just real quick. Yeah. So Gabby, you were just sort of giving Casey sort of the reports, because you've kind of taken on some of the defenses of the bunker and that kind of stuff. So you're standing in front of Casey. It's probably the first time that you've seen her in in more than just passing, in probably about a week. And in just in that week, like I said, you've seen Casey, but it truly has been sort of a high-buy situation as you both sort of were very busy. And
we both analyzed quite a lot.
Yeah, and I think in this moment you look at Casey, and as you're finishing up giving kind of your basic report as to how things are progressing with the defenses, it becomes extremely clear to you Casey is looking very kind of wan and has sort of bags under her eyes, is looking kind of has that sort of exhausted sort of stare. And the full weight of what is happening, you are watching history repeating itself, Gabby.
Yep. Very aware. Simultaneous sighing. That's good.
Yeah, both of us sigh. And Casey begins. I think starts to say.
Y'all.
Yeah, Casey begins to say something like, "Oh God, okay. That's the reports out of the way. Do you know anything about what the situation on that cache of supplies that we found earlier this week is?
Not seeing anything new there yet. We'll check again. What else you got on your list there?
What don't I have? There's...
How much have you added to that list yourself?
If I feel like it should be telling, perhaps, that when I was starting to make this list, I had to go get a new pen because the one that I was using with the ink ran out finally.
Casey, have you stopped at all?
I slept like a good
When?
6. Like 2:30 to maybe 8. It's hard to without the sun in here. Sometimes it's kind of.
That's an excuse. Casey, you're doing the same shit. You realize that, right? Do you? Do you really realize it? You're nodding, but has it sunk in yet? I know we haven't been hanging out much. There's a lot to do, obviously. You've got your list. I've got my shit. But it's not as though I haven't been watching. Do not make the same mistakes, please.
I don't know how many of you heard, but feeling real seen right now from the last year.
Mm-hmm. This is more than just Casey the DM. Maisel left you a list, and now you're following in her footsteps. As clear as the nose on my face. And what did that get her?
Dead, for all we know.
Hopefully not. But regardless, do not kill yourself. There's enough in this world that's trying to kill us. Don't do it to yourself, please.
Okay, I know it's late.
You haven't acknowledged or answered what I just said. I'm raising a teenage brother. Come on, man. we can talk about this. You can't weasel out of this.
You're right.
I haven't seen you smile since the chopped breakfast competition.
It's been real hard to find a reason, you know? At least when she was still around, I could kind of pretend that she was still home. That Maisel was still in there. I could felt like I could try and talk her out of it, through it, whatever it was. Kind of pretend things were still normal.
No. You know? We're all friends. I know you guys were close. Closer than the rest of us. Right? Whatever she had to do, she decided she had to do it, and there wasn't going to be any way for us to talk her out of it.
Yeah.
It was so premeditated. She left you a damn list. She made 3 lists. I'm surprised they weren't tabbed out binders.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised the notes weren't like color coded for each of us. That was always her MO.
Mm-hmm. But you do not have to fill those shoes.
You're right.
You shouldn't fill those shoes. Everything that we've accomplished so far is by our own work, right? That's not her. She's not here right now. You don't have to be another Maisel. Please do not be another Maisel.
I think I
No
get
offense
that.
to Maisel.
I mean, I am
Obviously, I'm
going.
still pissed, but you know.
All right, I'll tell you what.
Have you eaten?
I had a bite a few hours ago, but tell you what, it's late. Let's go get a snack, and then I want you to help me figure out who to delegate this shit to tonight.
I could do that. The latest chopped champions somehow figured out how to make tiramisu. I have no idea how. I've stopped asking. I don't want to know what they used, but it's the best damn thing I've eaten in I don't know how long.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I brought some, but I kind of ate it on the way. So
I think Casey genuinely laughs aloud at that.
There she is. I put my arm around your shoulders and forcefully remove you from the room, and we go get snacks.
Cool. I think on the at some point on the while we're rummaging around in the pantry, Casey's just like, "Hey, Gabby."
You're out with food in my mouth.
Thanks. You're a good friend.
Sometimes I feel like I'm not, but I try to be.
Yeah, well, you ever feeling like you're not?
This.
Yeah, we will.
Now try this. Seriously, it's fucking delicious.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay.
And I think this marks sort of a turning point for both of you, but for Casey especially. From that moment on, you start delegating, and delegating turns from delegating into designating permanent responsibilities to people. And that gradually over the course of the next several months evolves into something of a council of leadership within the bunker, made up of Casey, James, I think Anita insists on being part of it, and basically Camilla also, and basically I'd say you can feel free to pick one more person from the group to be part of that. It could, so.
Bree's muted, but I can see her whispering Shaw into the mic.
Okay.
And it's
You're
either
not
Shaw.
Here. You don't even go here.
It's either Shaw or Hall.
I was actually whispering Hall, but either way. Either way.
I just saw the A shape. I think genuinely it probably Hall is probably Casey's pick.
Okay.
Notice how she did.
Sorry, Ken.
Gabby.
Well,
fine.
Give the actual adults the responsibility.
Yeah, there's a reason that Casey has chosen.
Excuse
We didn't graduate high school.
So, all right, I'm busy with my own shit anyway.
There's
I don't want to be on your
reason.
stupid council anyway.
There's a reason I think. I mean, does Gabby want to? Like, that's a serious question. Does Gabby want to?
Only if it made sense. I am very focused on upping our defenses, taking advantage of the fact that it's winter right now and attacks have gone down. I've got my focus. If you think that makes sense to have representation on the council, then so be it. But a council seat is not something Gabby would necessarily seek out passionately.
Mm-hmm.
I would not say no, but I'm not gonna campaign for it. Not gonna be like little flyers like, vote for Gabby for Bunker Council.
I think Casey probably asks Gabby as much, and is like I know that you were passionate about these things, but I also know that you have a young brother, and as much as I deeply value your skills and your experience, Hall is fucking terrifying and also a whole ass adult with military training.
I'm backing Hall. Absolutely. I'll put up flyers for Hall.
There wasn't an election. It
Vote
was
for
just
Hall,
a choice.
y'all.
I'm sorry.
I'll make
Y'all
all
is
of these
just
jokes
good.
in character as this is being discussed.
Yeah.
There,
I
manifested.
think what then makes sense is that like while Gabby's focus and sort of take demonstration of leadership capacity when it regards the defenses of the bunker and all that make her a strong candidate for being on the council, it also, I think, makes her incapable of fulfilling the duties of a council member.
I ain't got time for your political mumbo jumbo. I'm working.
So
Keeping us alive.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, because it is worthwhile, I think the sort of and in a sort of advisory position, I think Castle will be sort of a more of like a record keeper than anything else, but also like with a voice on the council.
Okay.
But yeah, so he's often in any of the meetings, he's there, notebook open, kind of like recording like stuff that is happening. And if you, which you probably do talk about it at some point, it's not just for the practical purpose of keeping notes from the meetings, but also, he says, for people who don't have a certain future, it's important to keep a record of our history. Those who don't learn from it, etc.
It's very academic of you, Professor.
What can I say? But yeah, like I said, this is a huge turning point in the operation of the bunker, in the sense that there is no strict hierarchy per se, unless you ask Hall, but everybody seems to kind of defer in general to the councils, to basically they're like the things that the council decides. The weight is significantly lifted from Casey's shoulders, with everyone there to sort of, basically hold hands and jump into the abyss together, so to speak. But it makes things a lot smoother in the bunker, and I think in retrospect, Casey would look back and realize, like, we probably got so much more done in just that span of time than we had at any other point, including, like, not to take anything away from what Maisel accomplished at the university, but Casey, I think, can't help but wonder sometimes what might have happened had you adopted this sort of format of leadership earlier. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, John, but I think Casey probably stops herself from going the next step in that train of thought, which is wondering if you might not still be at the university.
She always stops herself well shy of that thought.
Yeah.
She always stops herself well shy of that thought. But she does notice the smoothness of doing all of this, and from a mechanical standpoint, Casey has always had points in the leadership stat, even though mechanically only one player in the party is allowed to make leadership roles.
Yep.
So
secret skills.
So to sort of pivot focus just a little bit, Gabby, I'm going to say that during this, you've spent a lot of time not just training up the people for defenses, many of whom already have a fair number of skills. You don't get this far in the apocalypse without being able to defend yourself a little bit, but more in terms of getting them working together and kind of in sort of a more cohesive sort of way. I think I mentioned this at the end of last session too, but Chuck from James and Kit's group is also helping out with this, as he has some military experience as well. Even though he was not an active member when this all went down, but unlike Shaw and Hall, but he has his experience, and he helps out a lot with just getting people organized and that kind of stuff. Additionally, if I remember correctly, we talked a little bit about the fact that the bunker is great, but you're either inside of it or you're not inside of it. And so a fair amount of your efforts, I think, are also directed to sort of getting a sort of system of, at the very least, barricades to some extent that immediately outside the bunker, so that there is a bit of a, you're not coming out at, a thing that I think will be quickly obvious to Gabby, just sort of doing a walkthrough, is that until you get inside the bunker, you are vulnerable, and the moment you step outside of the bunker, you are vulnerable. Yeah. And I think a lot of Gabby's efforts are probably focused on shoring up some of that a little bit, giving a little bit more,
barricades, a transitional area, so you're not immediately vulnerable. Lookout points. Once the snow and everything thaws away, establishing different safe areas or in the vicinity of the bunker, so when people go out scouting, or if you need to do anything that does require you to leave, you have different secured lookout points.
Right.
All that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll say it's on one of these days in particular that usually when you're out here, you've often got Zeke with you, and you're sort of you get very involved one day in sort of some of the operations, as you find you're so close to finishing the kind of immediate defenses outside of the bunker, and so you get very involved, and probably a couple of hours go by before you realize that you don't remember when the last time you saw Zeke with you was.
What?
And
no,
you sort of start I'd say you sort of start going into a bit of a panic at a certain point, because you haven't seen him. Nobody has seen him.
Hey, Chuck.
Chuck is not there. Chuck is not around.
Who else is around? Was it just me and Zeke?
No, it wasn't just you and Zeke. There's people outside who are actively working on the barricades and stuff like that. So there's people around. I'd say probably one of them, Demian, is close by. Yeah.
Hey,
Huh? Yeah, what's
Demian.
up? What's going on?
Have you seen Zeke?
Kind of frowns, says, a while ago, he sort of frowns, says, I think I saw him with Chuck and maybe Valerie.
What were they doing? I haven't seen him in hours.
I'm not sure. I think I saw Chuck. Oh, you know what? Nick kind of looks up. Nick, did you see where Chuck went? He looked, and Nick is sort of in the process, stands up because he was in the process of hammering down some of the metal spikes that are just using to kind of secure a barricade in place. He looks up and kind of wipes his brow and just says, yeah, I mean, I think Chuck went hunting again. He said something about that earlier.
Was Zeke with him?
Maybe? So he like looks around. You hear Gabby from not too far away. You see Shaw says, "Gabby," and he was like pointing down the hill. You see Chuck and Valerie and Zeke coming back up the path.
Okay.
Yeah. Zeke is sort of standing next to Chuck, and like even from this distance, it's obvious that Zeke is like talking his ear off. And yeah, as you see them come, they get close. Chuck is basically like shoulder carrying a far too small, but a deer. And he kind of looks up at you as you get close, and he says, "Hey, check this out." He says, "We're gonna be having venison tonight."
I thought you guys were working on the southern tower.
He says, "Yeah, we were this morning. We got other shift came. Figured I'd get out and do a little bit of extra hunting."
Without telling anyone?
I did tell someone. So kind of points over there. Points over to where Hall is. Says, "Made sure boss lady over there knew exactly what was going on."
Zeke, can I talk to you?
Chuck, they look at each other, and Chuck goes, "Hey, now I'm sorry. I told him he could come. I thought he'd already talked to you."
Thought wrong.
Zeke just sort of like scowls and just sort of like hands Chuck the spear he was holding, and Chuck says, "I'll make sure to keep it somewhere where you know where it is." And he kind of goes inside.
Thank you, Chuck.
And Zeke just sort of stands there, just sort of scowling at his feet.
I know you're with Chuck. And Valerie, right?
Yeah.
Valerie's. So at least you didn't go off on your own. But you know why I'm angry, right?
He doesn't say anything. He's still scowling at his feet.
I'm gonna take that as a yes. How many times do I have to tell you to just let me know if you're gonna wander off? It's winter, we don't have hordes, but there's still dead out there. What if something had happened?
He mutters something under his breath. You didn't quite catch.
Try that again, louder.
He just sort of looks up and he's like, "Not like you'd notice."
What do you mean not like I'd notice? I noticed you were gone. That's why I'm upset.
Yeah, when we were already coming back. Gabby, you're so busy all of the time. You're always focused on this, on training people, and you're never here.
What do you mean I'm never here? We train together all the time. We work together. I'm trying to keep us safe, Zeke.
Yeah, well... She says, "I wanted to help too."
You have been helping. With the Southern Tower. And the other stuff we've been doing. If you don't want to work on defenses anymore, that's up to you. We can find something else. But you've got to let me know if you're going to run off like that.
You're not Mom, Gabby.
I'm not trying to be.
Yeah, I noticed.
But you know what? You and I are still here, aren't we? Zeke, look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay? Just... I know I'm not Mom. And I don't think I could be. even if I was trying to be.
I just wish that the only thing we ever do is train and work on stuff. I feel like I lost my sister again.
You're not gonna lose me, Zeke. And I don't want to lose you, either. I know we've been working hard. There's just a lot of people dependent on this right now.
I know. That's why I wanted to help with the hunt. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I just didn't think you'd let me go.
Just let me know next time. And, maybe we have been working a little too hard. Yeah? If you want to hunt, that's fine. We need food. Right? I know you're getting good with that spear.
Do you remember when, like before, when we used to do, like, family game nights?
How could I forget you kicking my butt every time?
I found some games, and maybe we can play sometimes.
I'd like that. Just not Monopoly.
Fine.
Did you find Monopoly?
Well, not with all the pieces.
If you want to play Monopoly, we'll play Monopoly. And I won't fight over the railroads with you.
You'd probably lose anyway.
Okay, well, you don't have to rub it in.
He just sort of smiles and then just says, I'm gonna go find Chuck, okay? And help with... He said I could help.
I'm not done talking to you yet. And I pull him in for a hug.
Yeah. He hugs you back. It's, I think in this moment, Gabby, that you realize how tall Zeke has gotten. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably...
of course.
He's probably about just under your own height at this point. And he's only gonna go up from here.
God damn it.
But yeah,
you're not wearing platforms, are you?
What? No.
Never mind.
Okay.
You know, you could slouch a little more. I'm sorry, Zeke.
Yeah. Me too.
I love you.
He just nods.
Let's have games later, okay?
Okay.
Have you tried that tiramisu yet?
Yeah. Can I go help Chuck now?
Yes, you can.
And he...
if it was anyone other than Chuck, I'd be way more pissed.
I
know he's reliable.
He just keeps going. He just goes back towards the bunker and goes inside.
Teenagers. I'm
The
going to need
desire.
to take a minute before I go back to work. That "you're not mom" thing and I'm losing my sister got to me.
My Chemical Romance's Teenagers begins playing in the background.
There's a song from Dimension 20.
I'll shout out to like Paul or whoever is there, like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm taking a break. I'll be back.
All right, we got this. All right, we are. I think this also is a moment, a sort of a turning point, as well as sort of Gabby begins to realize that she has compartmentalized a little too much.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. After sort of taking a minute and listening to Zeke's words, you start to kind of like look back over the last like several weeks and a couple of months, and you start realizing that in fact, you and Zeke haven't spent a whole lot of time outside of training. You really haven't been around. In fact, you're not even sure what Zeke has been doing most of the time when he's not training with you.
For all that I wanted him to try to have some semblance of like a normal growing up, can see that I was probably responsible for stripping some of that away from him, and that's gonna eat at Gabby a bit. A lot.
But at the same time, I think, Gabby, it feels a little bit like bringing your head above water for the first time in a while, where you realize that you in the absence of your friends, you sort of threw yourself with everything you had into your work. And at first it was helpful, and it helped you kind of deal. But now after this conversation, I think you're starting to see some of the potential collateral damage that it has done.
So, even in an apocalypse, you need to have work-life balance? Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, maybe a little bit. You know?
Look, it's so easy to accidentally become Maisel. Oh my god!
I almost pulled a Maisel.
Don't pull a Maisel. Don't have terrible work-life balance in the crash.
We'd be glad if Maisel cried about it. That would be some expression of vulnerability.
Oh, can't wait.
Speaking of which, we're going to cut ahead a little bit as life kind of settles in the bunker. The barriers outside are completed. Before the worst of the winter, some of the construction has to wait, as some blizzards and heavy snowstorms impede the progress of that. But you're able to get it mostly done before the worst of the snowstorms come, and then having kind of a plan to finish up as things begin to thaw. And I think we'll cut ahead. It is, I'd say it's the beginning of March, as Casey and is sort of with the council, just sort of having this sort of like a brief, like sort of strategy meeting for the purposes of like planting. Now that spring is coming, Camilla is kind of doing a inventory presentation, basically just saying, look, I'm just saying, we made out through the winter a little better than I expected us to. The chopped competitions helped a lot. People experimenting with ways of making more with less. It helped. But what I'm saying is that basically as soon as the thaw happens, we've got to be ready to plant, like right away. And you see as James is kind of like looking at over her like projections and just kind of nodding. He says, "And do we have enough to last us just in case the thaw takes longer than we expect?" Camilla shrugs. I mean, we do, especially if we keep sending out hunting parties. Game will start becoming a little bit more plentiful now that now that it's getting a little warmer. So it should be a little easier, but also a bit more dangerous. As things start to thaw, the dead start to thaw too, so...
Oh, man. I'm flashing back to that first winter where we all hoped they'd just, like, kind of stay moldy.
They're gonna be, like, soggy.
Yeah.
Thawed, dead.
James looks up and says, speaking of hunting and the like, we what's the report on our scouts? And you see that Anita says it's all been pretty calm once they started getting ambushed by those assholes down in Salida, but yeah, we haven't seen any of them for months now.
Well, whatever they're doing down there is working, I suppose.
Yeah. So there you see Casey, you kind of glance up and you notice, looking out the doors to the council chambers, you actually see Chuck walking out quickly. Mm-hmm. He kind of comes in and says, "Hey, sorry to interrupt. Y'all might want to come and see this."
Yeah. I think a quick question:
mm-hmm.
was there a bow and arrow anywhere in our weapons?
I mean,
supplies?
I think that could have very easily have been made during probably has been. Probably, honestly, has been probably some of, not directly overseen by Gabby, but definitely one of the projects that Gabby signed off on for, like, defenses, because there's a limited amount of ammo and for, and stuff like that. So having something like bows and stuff like that for hunting, also for potentially for combat and stuff like that, in a way for quiet, ranged combat, useful thing to have. So
yeah, Casey will grab hers then, and is gonna.
Yeah. What's up?
Just for my own thought processes, how hard would it have been for us to make crossbows?
I'm not sure that you... It's probably one of those things that you have, like, in the works, but it's probably, like, yeah, it'll require a little bit of... basically, the moment you guys, like, made bows, it alleviated enough of your need that the crossbows stopped being a priority.
I feel like Chuck would know how, for some reason. If anyone's going to know how to make a crossbow, it's going to be Chuck.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just put that in my notes. Something I might have wanted to talk to him about at some point.
So interestingly enough, one of the supply drops that you guys got, like, found a cache, contained, like, an actual, like, hunting crossbow.
Oh!
I just rolled a luck roll to see if there was, and yes. So
we can reverse engineer that shit.
Yeah, in theory, yeah, absolutely.
Yes, awesome. Yeah. Right, that's all I wanted to ask.
So
yeah, thing now.
As you guys, the council meeting is sort of temporarily adjourned, you follow Chuck up to the entrance of the bunker, and as you are sort of come out of the entrance, you look down and you can see, as sort of takes a moment for your eyes to adjust to the light outside, but as they do, you look down the path and you can see 3 figures approaching. And it's very, very clear to Casey, as long as it's been, you know who it is.
There is a simultaneous flood of relief and a spike of something else in Casey's chest. I think
I'm gonna say that Maisel is behind Frankie and Kit. not like her anxiety hasn't quite, like, hit there, but, like, ever since the thing, like, basically Maisel's kind of deferred to whatever Kit wants to do. Maisel's like, I'm done. I did my thing. Kit, like, basically whatever Kate wants me to do is that what I'm gonna do next. So
honestly, I think as soon as we finished everything out there, I turned around and started the trek back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think there's a fair amount of, in the wake of all of that, gathering up whatever the people from Salida left behind into anything that would be useful, loading it up into a vehicle, and then driving to the the place where you first met James's group. And yeah. And now, as you are sort of approaching the rest of the way on foot, looking up, you see the outside of the bunker has changed significantly. There's a series of barricades and walls that were not there before, as well as a couple of lookout posts set into them, where you actually do see people looking out. You note that your approach is noted long before you arrive at the bunker. In the way that you see activity as you start kind of step into view, and as the three of you kind of walk up to the bunker itself, you see that a gate at the front of the barricades opens up, and you see the first person that you see is Nick, just with a huge grin on his face, and just holding a bow with a quiver of arrows on his back. Says, "I fucking knew it!" And he kind of reaches out to Frankie, his hand to Frankie, his arm kind of to Frankie, and just sort of does the hero's handshake clasp. And
Yep.
He looks at you, says, "Take more than a mountain winter and a few assholes with guns to take you down."
And Frankie is still wearing his ghillie suit, but it obviously he doesn't know how to make a ghillie suit. He's seen something written and watched a YouTube video back 4 years ago before all this started. Probably more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
No, it was
one from memory.
Just, I like the bow.
Yeah, we've got quite a few of them. Come in, I guess. Get inside. As the three of you sort of step in, Nick sort of shaking hands or patting you on the back as you come in. He closes the gate behind you. I'm gonna say, Maisel, it's immediately obvious that not everybody is sharing Nick's enthusiastic enthusiasm at your return. You can see a lot of sort of neutral expressions, a lot of surprise, and there are a few people who are who smile at you and nod as you come in, but mostly it's just sort of people just kind of watching you as you come in, and as you do, you glance up towards the entrance and you see Casey, you see Gabby, you see James, and Chuck, all kind of gathered at the entrance.
So, it's going to be pretty awkward. We've never accommodated a cryptid before, but it's sort of addressed at Frankie.
I had to kind of look like the forest.
Did you have to smell like it too?
If Kit allows Maisel's just gonna just hold Kit's Maisel is in the I'm a little kid, in very much in a little kid, I'm in so much trouble, please save me. Just holding the back of Kit's shirt.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't think Kit is gonna protest.
Okay, cool.
I think she's kind of stands there, and gives an awkward half smile to Casey and Gabby.
Welcome back. I think I don't. Casey feels many things in this moment, but I think it's just going to lead with, welcome back. Glad you're all still in one piece.
Did you do what
These
you set
supplies
out
won't
to
put
do?
themselves away. Just starts
Yeah,
getting.
Is that like when you show up late to work and you bring a box of donuts?
Yeah,
'Cause that's what that was
100%.
like.
Casey would be like, Camilla, will you show Frankie where to take those? We rearranged the supply closets over the last couple months.
Yeah. And while I'm at it, I'll show him where he can put them. And
Oh.
He just sort of like looks at you, Frankie. She just sort of looks at you, and then just, come on.
Okay.
Just, and yeah, she leads you in.
I'll ask that question again. Did you do what you set out to do?
I think I kind of turn around and I look at Maisel. And then I look back at Gabby. It's done.
Are we gonna have more people coming after us?
Maisel just like really shyly just like shakes her head.
I'm glad for that, at least.
You guys should get some rest and some food. And I want
Your bunk's just... Casey, I think, will just say, like, it is good to see you. Your bunks are still the same. I didn't... I was about to reassign them when you dropped the first note, so we're still in the same places.
At this point, I think James steps in and says, why don't we let everybody get situated, get some rest, get some food, and we can kind of debrief this a little bit later. I think we have a meeting to get back to.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck, do you want to show them where everything is? He goes, hell yeah, I do, returning heroes and all that shit. Let's go. He says, fucking honor guard over here. Let's get going.
Good to see you too.
He looks at you and says, good. Glad you're back, little bird.
little bird.
Bird?
I hope Gabby's still somewhat in earshot to hear that.
Yeah.
Gabby's never gonna let me live that down. Fuck.
So yeah.
I if you were to look, my shoulders would be shaking a little bit. Trying to hold back the laughter.
Casey has to stifle a laugh at hell yeah, brother.
All right, yeah, you all get shown inside. Even the interior of the bunker feels different than when you left. It looks much more like a place where people live now, and not like there's adornments on the walls in various places that there have been like artworks that have been hung up, like we're talking like full on like paintings and things like that were as Chuck sort of informs you as you're kind of going through that they were sort of found in the gallery, going yeah, whoever these nut jobs were, they were, I guess, trying to preserve humanity to some extent or another. We found all kinds of expensive shit down there, stuff that the professor was just practically pissing down his leg about, but figured to hang him up rather than let him drool over him all day. So
I'm not gonna lie.
Is that a Monet?
Hell if I know.
I'm not gonna lie, when you said paintings, like that Monet comment was gold. I was kind of also hoping that we would have somehow put together like an arts and crafts group.
There's probably some of that around.
Painting is very therapeutic.
Yeah.
I feel like
also,
I would love to see some hidden painter geniuses in this group.
And there's also places where like pelts that were not used, kind of like have been like hung up and stuff like that, just to kind of put something on the walls to stop them from being that sort of austere, bare bunker interior, you know. But yeah, it looks like a much more lived-in place. It's not exactly comfortable by, you know, by the standards of things that happened before, but, you know, in terms of places that you guys have occupied since, it's probably one of the better ones. So, immediate things, anybody doing anything right now?
I think before we part ways, I'm just going to, like, I don't know if Chuck is still there or not, but
I mean, he leads you to, like, basically, like, the mess hall and, like, sets you up with some food and stuff like that. And then, mostly, I think he reads that you guys are just sort of, like, not wanting to have him around just, like, chattering. And so he's like, anyway, I gotta get back to my, my shift outside. Glorious guard duty. He turns and heads out.
Thanks, Chuck.
He stops and looks back and says, no. Thank you. And he turns and just kind of keeps going.
I'm gonna turn to Maisel. So, you gonna be okay?
I don't know. When it first happened, I was relieved. And now I kind of don't like that they're proud of me. I don't know. Okay.
I'm gonna reach over and pull the chain off my neck and just kind of drop it around Maisel's neck with the Adventure Mobile key. Get people safe.
Thank you. Truly for everything. I couldn't have done it without you. I'm really glad that you're here. I'm really glad that you're safe. I missed you.
I missed you guys too.
I'm just like, I'm not even gonna, Mason's not even gonna ask. It's just gonna run up and hug her. I'm sorry I didn't say it before. I'm really glad that you're here.
Me too. I'm gonna go, check on supplies or something. Sorry,
No, it's okay. I get it. I'm gonna go to my room, I guess.
Get some rest.
I will. Thanks.
Cutting over to the supply locker, Frankie, you're with Camilla, who is just sort of like basically giving you the rundown of like the state of supplies at this moment. She basically gives you the whole rundown of like how like the food situation is going and the fact that they're currently like heavily strategizing about, you know, planting for the spring and all that kind of stuff. You Frankie, are as you're like sort of setting the big sort of crate that you brought with you down, she just sort of like looks at you and just says, I get why you had to go. I think. Look, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be pissed off about what you did. I know I was for a little bit, but I understood. I know you don't like being cooped up in places like this, and let's be honest, I know this was not your big idea, and we both know that she was going to go with or without you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just glad that you were there with her. And she kind of looks at you and says, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, and I don't know what's up. I don't know what's down. I'm back here, and I know we all want to stick together, but this place is helping, and it's safe, and just it makes some more sense out there.
She shakes her head and says, "Yeah, I get it. For me," she kind of gestures around, she says, "this makes sense to me. Organizing, categorizing, keeping track of shit. But if I wasn't doing this, I don't think I could stay in one place either." Oh. Are you muted? Maybe? Oh,
No.
Didn't catch any of
It's
that.
my microphone's being... Anyway. Excuse me. I guess I should make sure that I continue going and scouting out there and make sure there's stuff to organize, huh?
That's not what I meant, Bendejo.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
I meant that maybe you just need to find something that keeps you here.
Kind of glance up towards the door.
She, follows your gaze and just says, "Huh. Or maybe you already did?"
Yeah.
Okay. She says, "Well, you look like a skeleton. Go get something to eat. And also, really, take a shower. We have those now. You really don't have an excuse."
Oh my gosh. I'll do that first.
Yeah.
I will. I smell like the woods. And
Yeah, the
something
woods.
else. We were out there performing tasks, and I couldn't smell like a shower.
Sure. No, I get it. No, yeah, you smell like the woods. You know bears shit in those things, right? Out there in the woods.
No, it's funny actually. I did use bear shit.
I don't want to know. Shower. Fucking here, coming in here, touching all of my shit, covered in
My hands are
shit.
I understand. I understand. I'll go. And I kind of walk out the door and poke my head around the corner back into the door, and I'm like, and coyote shit too.
You duck
Deer.
away just as some boxes get thrown in your direction. Just
This sass. It gives me life.
Are there
Oh
any
my God.
sort of specific scenes that you guys want to have in the aftermath of this stuff? In the aftermath of the return. Actually, you know what? Am I correct in thinking that when Maisel goes back to her room, she finds a letter there?
Yeah.
She does.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
John.
I think Maisel would immediately recognize Casey's handwriting. It's just neatly folded, sitting on her bunk. There's dust on it. It looks like it's been there for some time.
Fuck. Okay. She will pick it up, dust it off, and dust off her entire bed.
Poof, 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 poof.
Just dust everything. And then sit on the floor with her back to the bed. And read it, I guess.
It reads.
All right. Yeah. It's time for your dearly departed, which we have saved for a dramatically appropriate moment.
Casey wrote this, I think, somewhere around week 4, and left it in Maisel's room when she wasn't sure if she was going to come back. It reads, Maisel, if the number of times I've rewritten this is anything to go by, brevity is the best choice. I miss you. I miss you every day. I miss the girl who loved to dance. I miss the girl who fell asleep during D&D. I miss the girl who color-coded her notes even after the world ended. Your absence will live with me until my end. I hope you found what you wanted out there, and I hope it brought you peace. Yours, always, Casey Burns.
Nice.
That was nicer than I expected, is all that Maisel mutters to herself.
Am I right?
I think...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Is Maisel's door open or closed?
It's probably closed, but it's not locked.
I think, perhaps unbeknownst to Maisel, while she was reading, it cracked open, and I think she would hear from the other side just, you keep expecting me to be an asshole to you, and I really don't want to be. It'll creak open just enough that you can see Casey there.
I don't know why I want you to be an asshole to me so bad.
Can I come in?
Yeah.
She'll come in and she'll close the door behind her and then sit down next to Maisel. When you left like a lot of lists,
Yeah.
things for all of us to do.
Mhm.
And after a few weeks, Gabby sat me the fuck down and pretty much told me that if I didn't start delegating some responsibilities, she was going to take me out herself. But all of this to say, all of those notes said a lot of things. But I think the thing that they said the most is that you're kind of an asshole to yourself, Maisel.
You're not gonna like what I have to say. I don't know anymore, actually. Before I left, I still kind of do. I would have told you that I deserved it. That I think that this ever...
I didn't think I was what people needed. But I was given a job. And so, if I wanted anyone to survive, I had to do it. And over time, my choices never worked the way that I wanted them to. Never. People kept dying no matter what. Whether I chose mercy, whether I chose anger, whether I chose to step away, whether I chose to step back or step forward. Tragedies kept following. Finally, I didn't know what to do. And it eats away at me every day. Every day. Trying to figure out if I could have done something better. If I was different or better. And then eventually I just realized that I was never gonna be better. I was never gonna be anything. I didn't know what I was gonna be if I let it catch up to me. So, instead, I make a choice. And let better people do better things. And maybe I'd help. Or maybe you'd be better off. But now I'm alive, and I'm here, and I did what I was going to do. And I'm tired. And I don't have any answers. And I'm just here. And you guys did a better job without me, so obviously.
You selfish dumbass. I wasn't doing any better of a job than you. I was running myself ragged, Maisel. I would have folded. I would have folded way sooner than you did. I am astounded at how long you held shit together. Through how many havens? 2?
2.
Yeah. You carried all of that shit, and I know you were carrying it because I saw that stupid fucking list you wrote. Over and over and over again. You left it open.
I stopped writing it after Kit came back.
I'm glad for that.
Yeah, because Kit came back and I was like, well, fuck me, right? Fuck me. I don't know anything.
I'll tell you this right now, Maisel, none of us do. I would have folded. The only reason that I didn't is because I let other people help me. And she'll reach a hand out if Maisel will let Casey touch her and just kind of like tilt Maisel's head up so that she's looking at her like. I would have cracked if I hadn't let Gabby and James and Hall and Camilla and fucking Chuck, the incarnation of hell yeah brother himself, like if I hadn't let people help me, none of this would have worked out this way. Nobody's perfect, Maisel. Especially not after the fucking world ended.
Yeah.
You have to let other people in sometimes.
so afraid, Casey. I don't want to hurt people. If I let anybody in, I'm so afraid that I'm gonna hurt them like I hurt myself.
And I think at that, like, Casey's just gonna pull her into a hug. And she holds Maisel there for, like, a while. And then I think just says very quietly to her, I don't think that that is something that you are capable of. And I refuse to believe it.
I really thought you were gonna be angry at me.
Oh, I'm mad.
Be angry at me.
I'm plenty mad. But it's like when Kit came back. We get so little these days. I can be mad later. I'm just happy you're alive. And I'm happy the person that came back is my friend.
Kit killed him. I didn't want to. I don't know how Kit knew that.
I don't know either.
I don't think I'd be here without Kit. I'm definitely not Frankie. Please don't be mad at Frankie. Or Kit. I didn't ask Kit to come. Kit just came. And Frankie only came because I think he could see how much I was... how broken I was. And I'm sorry that I didn't tell you. But I didn't want you to break along with me. I knew Frankie wouldn't. If he was going to, we would have a long time ago. But you and Gabby already hated me, so I couldn't tell Gabby either. And you kept looking at me like you thought I was gonna die. I didn't have the courage to tell you. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna say I'm not mad. But... thank you.
For what?
For at least telling me now, like, that's how you felt.
I'm sorry. I thought that if I talked to you that I didn't know who I'd be after I talked to you. I didn't think I'd have the courage to do anything anymore.
Well.
But, Salita's done. They're not gonna come after us anymore.
Hey, fuck, Salita. I could not care less right now. I could not care less about anything other than the fact that you are back, and if anything since all of this has happened has come close to breaking me, Maisel, it is not this. It is not you coming back. It's not you telling me any of this. It's when you left, and the only thing that I had left of you was a letter. And I didn't even know what the last thing I had said to you was. If there's anything that all but broke me, it was that you would not let me help you carry whatever it is that you have been carrying. And it's not my place to do that for you. I can't do it for you. But
okay, you guys both hear footsteps approaching outside, and you see, like, as the door kind of pushes open slightly and there's, like, a knock, you see, I would say, it's probably Ron at this point, who, like, kind of pokes his head in and he says, "Oh, there you are." He kind of looks at you, Mason, and says, "I heard you were back. I'm glad you're back." Casey, I just have a few things I need you to look over real quick.
yeah. Oh, meet me in the. I'll be in the meeting room in a minute.
Of course. And he moves off.
I should go figure out what that's all about.
At least I was right about one thing.
What?
I knew you could do it.
You are right sometimes. And Casey will smile at her and give her a little punch on the shoulder.
I think there was a reason why I was vice president. You're a lot better at being a leader. Or at least taking care of others. I feel kind of like a hypocrite.
I think your biggest problem is that you're a fucking perfectionist. And people are real messy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, whatever you want me to do, I'll do.
Right now, and this is your to-do list, I want you to take a fucking nap.
Okay.
And then when you're done taking a nap, I want you to go get some food. And then after you've done that, go check out the rec room. We have one of those, actually.
How many people in this bunker would be mad to see me?
There is no way for me to know that.
Okay.
Listen, you've got the one who is probably going to be angriest at your return. Gabby's going to sound real mad. She's probably going to be.
Okay.
But I think she, much like me, is also glad that you're back. In the meantime, and this is a permanent addition to your roster of tasks, Maisel, take care of yourself. This is your leader giving you a job.
Aye, aye, Captain.
And Casey's gonna pull her back into a hug again before she leaves.
Okay. We are going to cut briefly in our last scene before we take a break. We are going to cut over. Kit, you wake up in the middle of the night, feeling like somebody had been standing over you. As you look around the room, there's no one awake in the vicinity. You're sort of in the kind of like general bunk area. And everybody who is here is fast asleep. You have a brief moment as you sort of like look around, making sure that there was nobody moving around who might have been near your bed, but there's no sign that anybody had been there. And yet that feeling sort of lingers. One thing that is very clear to you, Kit, is you're not going to get back to sleep. You're awake now.
I think that feeling's going to kind of gnaw at me a little bit, so I'm going to start kind of doing a sweep of the whole bunker just to make sure.
Yeah, you kind of wander the halls of the bunker. Not a whole lot of people moving around. You briefly pass by the mess hall where you see Camilla is in the process of restocking some of the cabinets and things there. Sort of burning the midnight oil there. You kind of wander and you find yourself eventually at the security room where currently in there you see Demian and Hall are in the security room. Demian is talking to Hall, who kind of glances up at you as you come in, but doesn't immediately like engage, as she's sort of very focused on what he is saying. He's like, "So what do you want to do?" She says, "I don't know. And where are our perimeter scouts? They let him in, I guess." He goes, "I mean, I guess so." He says, Kit, you sort of are walking up at this point, and as you glance over, Hall says, "All right, give me a second." She steps over and like she moves away and like grabs a walkie from. Goes, "This is Hall to perimeter scouts. Chuck, are you there?" And Kit, as you sort of step up behind Demian, you can see his hand is sort of like hovering over the door control. He's just sort of like waiting for Hall, but you can see his eyes are sort of affixed to the screen. And as you follow his gaze, you see there's someone standing in front of the camera, in front of the door. And as you're looking, Kit, you feel your blood freeze. There's someone standing in front of the door that you have only seen 2 or 3 times. The most recent, just maybe about a year back. You see someone standing in front of the door in a pinstripe suit. And as you're watching and you sort of are looking at this, and Hall's still trying to get a hold of somebody outside, you see Demian's hand just sort of seemingly of its own accord reaching for the button. No. He hesitates, and then he just sort of, but Kit, I want you to make actually, I don't need you to roll anything. You look at him, and you say don't. He hesitates, but as you look at him, looking at him in his face, it looks like nobody's home. And then his hand falls onto the button.
No!
And that's where we're going to take our break.
Trauma has stopped, and then world trauma comes back.
Can't we just have self-imposed drama?
Yeah, why can't we just like deal with our trauma and then have to take time?
It's the pinstripe lich.
No. Right. We will be back in just a little bit. We're gonna try to come back really quickly as we took our break a little late, so we can resolve some of this. So we will see you very soon. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go.
And welcome back from the break. When we left off, shit was going down. When we left off, Kit had gone nighttime wandering and happened upon the security room where there was a scene playing out of Hall and Demian, who was watching the cameras, the exterior cameras on the bunker, and noticed a certain individual in a pinstriped suit standing right outside, which led to Kit trying to stop Demian from opening the door, but realizing that Demian was not entirely himself or present in that moment. Just a fraction of a second too late as Demian hit the button to open the exterior bunker door. And we are going to begin not in that moment, but instead, Casey, you are in the council chambers, with Ron, as Ron is sort of like going over some of like the last like bits of kind of stuff that he needed you to kind of like look over, and he says, and the last thing is, I'm pretty sure that we have another pest situation. People have been reporting sounds of stuff in it, like sounds in the walls, and I'm thinking about trying to get some probably another family of possums that moved in like before. They got in once, they can get in again, which is kind of what I said at the beginning, but yeah, probably gonna have to go in there and do a thorough sweep.
Yeah, as much as I'm loath to give up on any of our very precious food for bait, we'll have to try and figure out some kind of trapping situation again. And if we can figure out where they're coming in, we can maybe plug it up. But
yeah, I mean, I think he stops. And he says, "Do you hear that?" He like points over to the corner, and you can kind of hear like a tapping, scratching, kind of like scrabbling sound. Casey, as you kind of like walk over to the corner, you and Ron walk over to the corner and kind of like listen for a moment. And as you kind of like lean your head close to the vent, Casey, to like listen, you hear the sounds of like something like of a decent size moving in the vent. And you're like, okay, well, maybe we can stop. At first you think maybe we can stop this possum thing right here, but as you listen for a moment, you start hearing,
Ron, alarm now!
Yeah, Ron turns and runs to the other side of the room and like goes and like pulls the switch. The alarms in the bunker start going off as Casey, in that moment, the vent just gets slammed open from the other side, and you can see one and then two of the dead start like kind of coming out of these vents.
God damn it.
Right.
All right, great.
The rest of you wake suddenly as the alarms are going in the bunker. There is only one reason that alarm would be going off. And what are you doing?
Casey?
Sure.
Question, do we have an intercom system in the bunker? Is there any is there one?
I think there is. It's not the most reliable all the time, but yes, there is one.
Okay, cool. I think Casey, in that case, is going to make a leadership role to have Ron go do that.
Okay.
And basically, like, she's going to use her first turn in whatever is happening here to ensure the well-being of the rest of the people in this bunker.
Okay. So before that happens, Casey, because you are present right there as the dead are sort of coming out of this air vent, you basically suffer an attack, and I need you to make any role that you think is relevant here.
May I make a mobility roll?
Yes, you may make a mobility roll. I will also say that you are you currently gain immediately, all of you gain 1 point of stress.
Cool.
God damn it.
How much
for the
did I have?
second defensive?
Did I still have 3? So do I have 4 now?
No, I don't think so, Maisel. But here's okay. Before we actually get into that, I do have a question for Allison. Do you think, and this is entirely up to you, do you think that over the course of the last 3 months, and I forgot to ask you this question at the beginning, do you think that you would have established a PC anchor with either of the other two? Oh, are you?
I can't hear you.
Yes. Sorry, I was. I think so.
Okay.
And I think it actually surprisingly was Maisel and not Frankie, but
Okay. Sounds good. Then in that case, you only have 1 point of stress.
cool. Thank you.
And you no longer by default have 1 point of stress.
I appreciate that.
Yay!
That is 3 6s on that mobility roll.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. with
Casey
that-
just explodes away from that.
you
Like,
immediately dodge away as soon like you hear them a fraction of a second before they are busting in the air vent, and you dodge away immediately, kind of like reaching for the nearest whatever you can find, just something. You grab a hold of something, and you just, in this case, I'm gonna say it's like a clipboard. You grab it and just immediately bam, bam, bam into the one. The second one you are able to kind of kick backwards, and as it falls back, it like its head cracks on a crate nearby, and it just falls still. However, you can hear the sound of more of them in the vent. As you sort of back up, you sort of yell to Ron.
yeah, I just bark to Ron, like, get on the intercom now, tell them they're in the vents.
Mm-hmm.
Yell it the whole way you're going there.
He nods. I've got it, and he just starts running down the hall. It is probably okay. There is. You can hear the crackle of the intercom come on, and Ron's kind of broken, interspersed voice as the intercom is sort of like fritzing a little bit. But yeah, but you do the words "the dead" and "air vents" definitely make themselves clear.
Cool. All I needed.
Yeah.
Casey is going to grab her shotgun from wherever it is.
It's probably never that far away. I don't think anybody is terribly ever far away from their weapons.
No. No.
We sleep with it under our pillow.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably what Casey is able to accomplish in a very short period of time. I think her next goal, I think, would be to check probably the entrance.
Okay. Yeah, you run down the hallway, and I would say that you probably run right into Maisel, as you're on your way. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in the vents. I have no idea how they got in there.
See, important
Okay.
point of order, just so that you know, for your own edification. The vents were identified as a possible weak spot. However, it was ruled that it was incredibly unlikely, as like the dead aren't smart enough to like go for them, and in order to get to them, they would have to in order to get in them, they would have to like walk right over one that was weak enough for it to like collapse under them. And so it's sort of ruled as like even if it did happen by some chance, it was not likely to be more than just sort of like a one-off kind of thing, and you would be easily able to identify which exterior vent they came out of.
We had to
And, like-
check those vents regularly as well.
Sure, yeah,
Like,
exactly.
the security team would have been checking them,
Absolutely. Yep.
especially as paranoid as Gabby has been about having another
Like-
infiltration.
Yep.
Hey!
Yeah, absolutely. So, and they all the checks up until recently, like the checks recently have coming back that they're fine. The integrity of the vents were intact.
I think Casey's just gonna like see a look on Maisel's face and is just gonna like put one hand on her shoulder, the other still on the shotgun, and be like, "Hey, it's not gonna happen again here. Let's go check the front door."
Okay.
All right.
Should I make a leadership roll about that?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because Basil's immediate thought was like, "Oh God, it's literally happening again."
Help! It's again.
Help! It's again. I just got back and something bad is happening. Oh no! It's my fault.
That is 3 successes.
Okay. Yeah, Maisel,
Rolling high tonight.
you sort
That's
of
good.
like find yourself centered in that moment, just on the cusp of panic. You sort of center yourself, and you hear the confidence and the calm in Casey's words, and you steel yourself. You feel that sort of resolve, sort of inside yourself. No, it is in fact not going to happen again. Frankie, where was Frankie during at the beginning of this?
Oh, I think if it's like I think Frankie would be probably close to almost falling asleep. But that would definitely alter that.
I'll say this,
You know.
Frankie, as you're in the process of falling asleep in kind of like the main bunks, and you hear somebody sort of like shuffling around, probably making their way to their bunk. And as you're like sort of laying there, not really paying attention to that, there's something that happens that draws your attention. As you hear the person stumble into something, and then you hear,
Fuck.
and as you sort of
Nope.
sit up right as one of the dead stumbles over like somebody's bag that had been sort of like left just out, and you see as you like leap up and look, it looks up at you and just and like reaches its hand out for you. What would you like to do?
Okay, I'd like to use strength
Okay.
to force its head to smush.
Okay. This will be. This can be like a close combat roll if you would like.
First
so-
smoosh.
Or force.
Yeah, force would work.
Or that's what I was imagining at first.
Yeah.
I could do.
Force
I
works.
don't.
No, it's any roll that you think is relevant works in this instance. So.
And I'm going to add this stress. It's not the best. So no successes, but no failures either.
Okay, so yeah, you are like try to slam this thing's head down, but you only manage to just sort of like get on top of it and kind of pin it. And as you're doing this, that's when the alarm starts going off in the base. And as you're holding it
You
down,
don't say.
Frankie's,
to the alarm.
Frankie, as you're there, you look up and you see like movement starting to happen as people are getting up from their bunks. But the closest person to you, you see Anvil standing just like right there, just sort of staring wide-eyed, and just like in total shock, just staring at you, pinning this thing to the ground.
Aim for the head.
She just looks at you.
Anvil. Okay. Okay.
Frankie, I want you to make just a straight up empathy roll.
Ooh. Okay. I don't think that drive works here. I'll hold on to that for now because I think I only get it once per game. Okay, so oh yeah, I'm the stress. 2, 3, and 1.
Okay, she is frozen. She's not.
Yep.
She can't. You're not even sure she's hearing what you're saying. She's just frozen in absolute terror.
My empathy is not.
Yeah. So Frankie, as you're holding this thing, it's like struggling, trying to like get free. What are you doing?
I suppose. I'm gonna try to finish it. I'm gonna continue to try to finish it off here.
Okay, sounds good. Give me whatever roll you want to do here.
It's just okay. Maybe I will. use my I am a survivor drive.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Yeah,
Would
absolutely.
That work? Just making sure. I wanted to double check.
Yep. So you get to add
All right,
2 additional dice to that roll.
That's correct. Thank you. Stress. Sorry, I just hit my mic. Sorry about that. Okay. I did get a. So remind me again. It's been a hot minute. If I roll a 1 on the red, on the stress, but 6 means I still succeed.
Correct.
So I rolled a 6 on. Okay, so just making sure. So I have 2 6s.
Okay.
Sorry, I led you guys on a little bit there.
So no.
Yeah, I was like, no,
That
go
is
for
the
you.
first pass.
So no 1, no 1s.
I rolled a 1, but it's on one of the white die.
Okay, cool.
On the regular.
Then you're good. Yeah, you this time you like are holding it down, and as you sort of like manage to get a leg up under yourself, you like put one foot down and pin its arm, and just sort of like reach out. The closest thing to you that you can see, like Anvil does have like a knife on her belt, and you just sort of reach out, grab it, and just.
Perfect.
Oh,
that's cool.
Yeah. As this thing just then lays still. By this point, everybody in the room, like this is just like a matter of seconds have passed, and at this point, everybody in the room is like up, looking around. Only like a couple of them have noticed what just took place in the room, but the rest of them are like grabbing like weapons and things like that were nearby them.
Well, I wiped the blood off. Sorry.
She just sort of looks at you. She goes, "I'm sorry. She's in a panic right now.
I think, whoa, I almost called myself by 3 different character names that are not.
It's okay.
Whoa.
You're stressed.
Frankie wipes the blood, the congealed zombie blood off the knife, and just kind of puts it gently back into the sheath that Anvil has, and then he's like, "It's okay, but we have to move right now. Grab a bag. We're not leaving. Just we need to join the others. Who would be Anvil's like care? Like
that would be either
like,
Kai or Hall, and neither one of them is in the room right now.
Yeah, and I'll help you find a Hall."
She just nods and like looks over, grabs her backpack, which is literally just like it looks like just a school bag and has a bunch of like like pins and flare on it that she just sort of like puts over her bag. There's like lots of parts of it have like duct tape around it, not looking like patched or like patching or anything like that, almost looking like she's tried reinforcing her own backpack.
Oh cool. I love that.
Yeah. And she grabs it and just yeah, you Nick is also in the room. He just like looks up, he says, "What the fuck is happening?" He like looks down at the dead one in front of you. He's like, "What the fuck is happening?"
The thing that always happens.
Shit. And he like runs to the door and just like immediately like peeks out into the hallway. He says, "Got a couple of them out here," and he goes out and just like you hear a couple of gunshots in the hallway. We will cut to Gabby. Gabby, you're kind of like running through the hall, like you holding Zeke's hand, as like you've already seen a couple of them.
Yeah. So would we all be in kind of like group bunk areas?
Yeah, there are a couple of adjacent main bunk rooms.
Yeah.
And then there's like a whole bunch of like in the vicinity. There's a bunch of individual rooms, and like there's like singles and doubles as well.
So what I probably would have done as we're going through the hallways, as we see other people, I'm going to encourage people to stay in small groups.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you don't want to do is have all of us split up in onesie-twosies, because it's easier to pick us off, and it's dark, and there's chaos. So I'm going to try to, whoever we run into, say, stay together, stay with us, let's move to this point, right? Like small little squads.
Yep.
Another question.
Mm-hmm.
If we had known that the vents were going to be a vulnerability of some sort, would we have identified places within the bunker that we could also use to hole up in? Because if our only option to quote-unquote get to safety is to go to the front door, that's kind of flawed. So I'm wondering if at some point we would have identified within the bunker, this is a room that we can go to if we can't get out the front door. This is a room we can go to if we can't get out. So things like the supply closets, the armory, stuff like that.
I'd say that's completely fair. That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So I would want to go to whatever the closest room is of those with the small group. And ideally, everyone would be aware of where those safe points would be.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
And that being the case, I would say that, like, you probably have run drills in the past. So, like, there are...
It's a fire drill. It's a zombie drill.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you do see some of that happening. There's a couple of people who sort of have stepped up and, like, sort of been taking charge.
Good.
And sort of getting... of their immediate group and sort of, like, getting people moving. James being one of them.
Of course.
As he has, like, a nail bat that he's kind of, like, holding, and he's just sort of, like, looking around. He sees you, Gabby. He says, I can't get a hold of anyone in the security room. Go check it for me.
Okay, I'm on it. In that case, I'm going to ask. Because Zeke's right there with me. I'm going to ask James to take the small group that I was gathering and get them to the safe room.
Yep.
I give Zeke my pistol.
He takes
and
it.
I say, I know you still have that grenade. Do not use that indoors.
Wait, I can come with you?
Go to the safe room with James.
He just sort of looks at you and says, but I want to help.
Until we know what's going on, the best thing you can do, the thing I need your help with right now, is to help people get to those safe rooms. I don't know what's up front. They got in somehow. They're in the vents. We drilled for this, remember?
Yeah.
You need to be squad leader right now. Yeah?
Okay. He looks at you, and it looks like he's about to say something, and then instead looks at the group past you and says, okay, everybody follow me. And he
You can do this.
Yeah. He gives you one last look back at you, and then just kind of keeps going and sort of follows James's group. James sort of gesturing over, he goes,
Yep.
All right, let's get moving. And they head back.
A boy's growing up.
Okay. Gabby, you turn and start running down the hall towards the...
I still have my bolt action.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I don't have my AR. Wait.
I think there's a solid... Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Luck Oracle.
Because our returning heroes may have come back with some things.
Better than that, Gabby. Better than that, your exact AR was included in one of the dead drops. One of the supply
Oh my god!
So,
Like,
you have it back.
Okay.
Gifts from beyond.
It was still in bad condition, but at least I have it back. Oh, those are dogs that are fighting now. Yep.
AR.
Okay, so I'm using the bolt action because AR might be a little bit tricky indoors like this, close quarters. So I will sprint to the front, and as I'm going along, sorry, please excuse the dogs barking. I'm going to continue when I spot people. It's like, stay together, get to the safe room, go.
Okay.
And just keep running.
All right. Then we're gonna cut back to Kit. In the immediate aftermath of like Demian hitting the button, you watch in just sort of frozen for a moment, watching what is unfolding in front of you. You see on the camera the door to the bunker opens, and the pinstripe man sort of like looks up, and he for the first time tilts his head up, looks at the camera, and you can see that sort of like twisted whorl that is like takes up half of his face.
Oh yeah, I know that face.
But he just
That's the face that came after me when I was in that car before.
Uh-huh.
How much distance is between me and
sorry.
Damian and the door?
This is Kit. This is
I'm
Kit.
not?
No, this is
okay,
Kit.
never mind.
Kit, you're watching this. You see as he like tilts his head up and looks at the camera, and it's not the best quality, and it is dark outside, but you could swear for a moment that there is up on the undistorted half of his face that there is just sort of like the upward quirk of the mouth as he steps out of frame of the camera towards the bunker. Demian just sort of like shakes his head. He says, "What did I just do? What the fuck did I just do?" Hall is like frozen with the walkie up to her mouth and goes, Chuck, God damn it, are you there? She just sort of hooks the walkie into her belt. She says, what the fuck is going on? How did they get in?
He's leading them.
Who's leading? What are we? What?
I just turn and I start running towards the front door.
Yeah. You hear footsteps behind you, and you kind of, at a glance back, you see that Hall is following up, as well as Demian. They're both following behind you. At this moment is when you hear the alarm. And Kit, as you run down the hall, the security room is just down the hall from the main entranceway. So you arrive at sort of the intersection that leads to the main entryway, and you can hear from one of the rooms that's closer to the entry. You hear the sounds of yelling and gunfire. And as you look down towards the main entrance, you can see that there are figures moving outside in the gloom. Way too many of them to be your people.
Is there anything in the main entrance other than... Is he already inside?
Presumably, yes. But the door is open, and you can definitively see a crowd of the dead approaching from outside.
I'm gonna make my way towards the door. I'm gonna try to get it closed.
Yeah. Yeah, Hall following right up behind you. She goes, shit. As you go running, you, Kit, I want you to make a wits roll.
Interesting. I don't like that. With the one stress. Okay.
You can do it. Come on. Roll high. Roll high.
You got this.
You witty Kit, you.
No successes, but also no failures.
Okay. As you're running for the entrance, you kind of go to get that. You have to get it closed no matter what, and you just sort of run beeline towards it. You can figure out anything else after that door is closed. And as you're running, you feel you lift entirely off of your feet as you get slammed into the wall. And as you turn and you look, you can see you're right across from the room, which is just sort of like not like the main armory, but it is being used as an equipment lockup. There are pieces of dead bodies strewn around the room, and standing in the middle of them is the thing in the pinstripe suit, holding out a hand towards you, holding you up off your feet against the wall. He's just sort of looking at you. He doesn't say anything. You glance to the side and you can see Hall has sort of stopped and is just staring wide-eyed at you. But then she sort of makes eye contact with you. I'm gonna have her make a roll here real quick. Okay. She makes eye contact with you, nods for a second, and then takes her pistol, sort of edges up to the door, and then whips around. I'm gonna have her make this roll. I believe she is trained in ranged combat.
Mm-hmm.
Which gives
Come
her... she whips around the corner and just opens up. She just unloads the clip into this thing. Just doesn't stop firing, and you can see, Kit, that it is just precise body shots that she is making into this, and you drop back down to the floor.
I'm gonna... Oh, shit. So he's, in the next room?
Yeah, so basically, you're in the hallway. The door, at this point, is the door, if you're looking into the equipment lockup, into the, and then, so the main entryway is to your left, about 10 or 15 feet away from where you are. To your right, the direction you came from, Demian is sort of like stopped and is just sort of watching, like unsure of exactly what is happening. And Hall is standing in front of you, just firing into the room.
I mean, while she has him distracted, I'm gonna keep going for the door.
Okay, sounds good. I want you to make a mobility roll here.
Okay.
Casey and Maisel just sprinting for the front door.
I'm really good at mobility, but that is no successes.
Okay.
That's still just mixed.
Cool.
Yeah.
So as you reach the front door, the door at the exact same moment that some of the dead do and begin coming in. Kit, given the circumstances, they are very aware of you. As they reach for you through the entryway. I need you to make any roll that you think would be appropriate in this moment to avoid the attack or to retaliate.
Ooh, what do I have? I think I'm just gonna try to dodge again, so I think another mobility.
Okay.
That is 2 successes.
Okay. So you, as one lurches for you, you dodge out of the way, and in that same moment, you hear gunfire from outside, and you watch as its skull just sort of, it just sort of scatters and he goes down, and you see as several of them outside sort of turn towards the source of the noise, and you can see kind of illuminated in the in some of the spotlights around outside, you see Chuck covered in just like blood and guts, just sort of like running up like with an AR in his hand, just sort of aiming and firing, not stopping to like take like real aim, but just shooting. Like he's basically, you see as he's charging forward, he's just getting as close to them as they can as he runs towards the entryway, and just only opening fire when he's basically point blank range, and just keeps like just charging forward. As you stand there, I'd say that Maisel, Gabby, and Casey, all sort of like coming from different opposite directions, like arrive at this hallway where you look down. You see Kit at the main entrance, in the process of trying to get the door closed. You see Hall opening fire and just sort of firing into a room that you can't see inside of from here, and Demian is sort of like crouching close to the ground, sort of edging closer to Kit, trying to kind of get around Hall. And that's what you see looking that way.
Okay, cool. I think Casey is just going to call up the hall. Like, Casey is going to assume that there is probably some of the dead in whatever room Hall is currently emptying her clip into, and does not know about Pinstripe Man. So I think Casey is just going to, like, yell up the stairs to Kit, like, is there anyone left outside?
Chuck.
Casey is going to raise her voice and yell, Chuck, get the fuck back in here. You're not allowed to come to Chop Nights anymore. Some shit like that. And I'm going to make a leadership roll about that.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a leadership roll.
That is a single success that Chuck will get. I'm going to give Chuck a +1 die.
Hell yeah. I'm going to make a quick roll here. A couple of them. Okay. Hall is immediately sort of startled by your return, and basically she like turns and looks at the exact moment that you hear the click click, and she just whips back around the corner and just starts like she just throws her pistol to the ground. She starts looking like she's about to reload, and she just throws it and just like looks at Demian, who like is holding out like an AR to her. She just grabs it from him. Now I'm gonna make a different roll. Okay. Chuck. Oh, hold on. Cool. That's 2 successes for Chuck. As he,
Chuck,
like just runs. Kit, you see him coming. As the dead are coming, as like surging towards the door, but just as distracted by the sound, the noises behind them. He like muscles his way through them. At one point, one of them you can see grabs his arm and goes to bite. And he just takes the butt of his rifle and just slams it into its jaw and just like leverages it to the side, and then just can't get a hold of the rifle, so just lets go of it and just jumps inside. And with that, Kit, you're able to like pull the release on the door as it swings shut, and you can see as the electronic locks click into place. As Chuck just sort of like sits there and goes, he nods to you, and he gets up.
The second the door is closed, I'm pulling my gun and aiming at Pinstripe at the head.
Yeah. Kit, I want you to make a ranged combat roll here.
Okay. What is that? I get the bonus from my gun, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's okay. That's 3 successes.
Holy shit!
I will take a photo.
Kit, you turn around right as Hall, grabbing the AR from Demian, whips around the corner and immediately gets shoved back against the wall, just like you were, just thrown up against it. At this point, Maisel and Casey, you watch Hall literally get lifted off of her feet and slammed into the wall,
so
and being held there.
See this.
Huh?
Fucker. No. Yeah, we see the guy now.
No, we just see
guy? Not yet.
Telekinesis.
So, Gabby, at this point, you run up. You and Frankie run up as you see.
Yeah.
You see Casey and Maisel just reaching the. You actually hear Casey shout to.
Okay. I thought I was up around the same time that Maisel and Casey had been.
You
We're coming up afterwards.
You're coming from opposite directions.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. Cool.
So you'd be getting there right about the same time that Casey is shouting to Chuck.
Got it.
In this instance, Maisel, what are you doing in this moment?
Well, I see that happen to Hall, and I go, "What the fuck?" And I sort of like run up to I don't know where the hallway thing, but I just run up to the side of the hallway and look down at Damian, being like, "What the fuck's going on?"
He just shakes his head. He's like, he can't seem to articulate anything at the moment. But yeah, Gabby and Frankie, as you draw up level with Casey, who starts up the hallway, you look down the direction that the two of them would have come from, and you see around the corner, you see a group of the dead coming.
Shit.
Okay.
So, Casey wouldn't see that, so because Casey's already on the move.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just Gabby and Frankie see that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to do the thing where I tilt my head around just to see what is holding Hall up.
Yeah. You look inside and you see the pinstripe man just holding his hand out, just standing there. The first time that you've seen him since
3 years.
Yep.
Guys! Beetlejuice is back!
I think there's
As I'm turning around to deal with the...
Yeah.
There's a beat, and then Casey is like, shoot him in the fucking face, Maisel.
All right.
Going to, I'm just gonna turn around and just go.
So Kit gets there first and just fires several times. 1, 2, 3, 4, all hitting like chest, shoulder, cutting into the cheek. And you see as he sort of kind of reacts to getting hit, drops Hall, and then brings hands up almost in a sort of defensive way, looks to the side, and with a speed that is there's no other word for it than supernatural, just turns, runs, and dives through a vent. Doesn't even stop to open it, literally just goes through it. And in the meantime, Gabby and Frankie, you guys are there's a group of the dead that are encroaching. What would you like to do?
we're mowing them down.
Okay.
Yeah, I think mowing them down.
Yeah.
Then, in this instance...
Bolt action's going back. Old reliable AR is coming out.
So this requires...
We're making dead confetti.
This requires a different... Yeah. This is not a single attack. This is... a 77. Let's find out. We haven't used this in a while. But we're going to be using the Horde combat rules. Okay, so the threat level currently is 3. Getting there. The swarm size is a 1 right now. So the total swarm threat is 4. I need Frankie, Gabby, and I would say Casey is the only other person close enough. The 3 of you, I need you each to make a check. So this is what it says. Each round, up to 3 chosen PCs and NPCs in the fight roll for skills and add up their numbers of successes. Which skills can be used depends on the current threat level as indicated. Okay, which I'll have over here. Currently the threat level is 4, which means you can use force, mobility, ranged combat. You need a number of successes collectively that total the swarm threat level.
Okay. Ranged combat it is.
Okay.
With...
No.
Ooh, my AR has 3 bonus. And stress.
Okay, and then Frankie, what are you doing?
Do we pick separate things, or can we all stack?
You can all pick the same thing. Yeah, you can pick the same thing. Yeah.
Well, and you said it was agility, force...
It's, force, mobility, and ranged combat.
Oh, shoot. My stress die just bailed and
I
jumped off
do
the desk.
Mobility.
Okay.
Your stress die is stressed.
I can't find it. Where is it? I'll roll a different one for stress die. I don't see it down there.
That's the stress.
We're using you. Oh, it's not looking great. No.
Nothing.
Okay.
Oh, no,
stress
1/6.
die is not a 1.
You can push the roll. I hate to... I'm not the GM.
Push the rolls.
Yeah, you can push the roll, which is take any die that is not a success and re-roll it.
So that's
you gain
all
1
of
stress
them.
and add that die to the roll.
Yeah, you also gain a stress and add that to your pool.
Okay, I'm re-rolling all of them.
Freeman, what did you...
Additional
It's 1 success.
1 success? Alright, Casey. What's Casey doing?
I'm trying to decide. So, I think genuinely the best thing that I can do here is just to do the leadership bark orders.
Okay.
And I think what she's gonna do, I think she basically just she watches that happen where it just like poof, like into the vents. And then I think she's just gonna be like, Demian, I need to know where he's going. And I need to know where the rest of them are in the bunker.
Okay.
And then she'll just start she'll hear that there are more coming from down the hall and yell words of encouragement to the rest of her squad here. So.
But specifically, okay. What are you doing now in this instance?
Barking orders to everybody else to try and resolve this, which is one of which is one of the things that you can do with leadership. So I'm going to make a big leadership roll, and then I can assign die to people.
Okay, sounds good. Scriv, successes, any?
Only 6s are successes, right?
Correct.
1.
Okay, so that's 2 so far.
I rolled so many dice. So many. I rolled a total of 7, 8, 12.
Ooh, I hate that.
And only 1, but no 1s on the stress dice.
Okay. John, what did you...
Other ones, but not on the
I got
stress
2 successes, so I'm going to give a die to I'm gonna give a die to Frankie, and I'm gonna give a die to Kit for your next skill rolls.
Okay, so in theory, Scriv, if you wanted to use it in this moment, you could to add to that same roll.
What do you wait?
So
what?
Casey made a leadership roll and gave you one of the dice, so you can add that die to a skill roll, and that includes the one you just made if you would like to roll an additional die.
All right, I thought they went to Frankie and Kit. It
went to Gabby and Kit, right?
Yes, Gabby and Kit.
Okay, I'm rolling one more.
I figured Frankie would be fine.
Okay. All right.
It's a 3.
You did not get what you needed. However, you did get half of what you needed. It says, so basically what that means is that the next round you get 1 additional success automatically for the next round.
Okay.
So yeah, you the swarm is going to use their thing. Their thing is going to be a single attack, which means I'm going to randomly determine this. Cool. Frankie, I need you to make any roll to defend yourself against this single attack.
All right, sure. I think it's going to be definitely mobility.
Okay. Sounds
Duck,
good.
dodge, and weave.
It's going to sound just like that, too, for some reason. Stressed. That does not... Yep, that's nothing. Nothing there. No successes and no failure. Just I don't know...
Okay. Well, when you are doing the roll... Huh? What's up?
Oh, no, wait, no. I did give... Sorry, never mind.
When you are doing the roll for defending against a single attack, if you fail, that's a roll on the Walker attack table.
You can push the roll.
That's right, you could push the roll if you wanted to.
I hate to be the demon on everybody's shoulder, but...
It's up to you. Do you want to push the roll?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Then... I think this is a... Yeah, 6. Okay. That's... Okay, so Frankie, this, as the one that reaches you, gets to you, it grabs you, and the only place it can find purchase is your hair, and it rips some of the hair out of your head, as it tries to drag you close enough to bite. You punch it in the face until it dies, but you take 1 point of damage.
Okay. My man bun!
But yeah. Okay.
Damn.
Going back... that could have been real bad.
So
you now have the bruised condition, which just means that you have.
I was just gonna ask. Yeah. I'm clicking on it. Okay. Cool.
Oh boy.
So, Maisel, Kit, anything that you're doing in this moment?
Well, immediately once Hall was released, was gonna just check on her and be like, "You okay?"
She goes, "Not really, but I'll be fine."
Okay, and then on that, I'm gonna run over to Kit and basically ask the same thing.
Somebody's already going to the vent?
Demian is going to the vent and looking in.
Then I'm gonna go run over to help with crowd control.
Okay.
Is there any other dead in this main room where the Pinstripe Man was, or
none of the ones that are walking around?
Great.
But you can tell that there are pieces of dead bodies around this room, and they're definitely your people. Some of them.
Pieces?
Pieces. They are strewn around the room.
Okay.
With that, yeah, Kit, you rush to go and help. Yeah, what do you?
I was gonna ask if where the crowd is in like how things are placed right now, basically.
So They are. So if you're by the entrance, back down the hallway towards sort of like the main corridor, is where like right at the intersection between this hallway and the main corridor is where Gabby, Frankie, and Casey are standing, and the horde is coming from kind of the left side of that intersection.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm gonna head down towards the horde.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna start shooting at them again.
Okay.
Like, I'm not gonna go try to manipulate a crowd that's actively being shot into. So.
Makes sense. So okay, then in that case, we're to the next round. I need at least I need 3 of you to make a roll of some kind. That could be again force, mobility, ranged combat.
Let's see if any of my 12 fucking dice will cooperate this time.
I can do a ranged combat since Casey gave me the bonus last.
Maisel has 3 bonus die right now.
I do. Yeah. But
That's better.
Sorry. Clarify.
Yeah.
Casey and Gabby and Frankie who are rolling?
Yeah.
Okay.
4 successes.
And I will not.
But Kit, if you wanted to, you could assist and give somebody else an extra die.
Okay.
Bria, what's your ranged combat like?
I have a 1 in ranged combat and a 3 in agility, so pretty good. Not great.
If you want to roll for it, if those 3 die will be better than what I can roll base. So
Okay, sure.
How many successes did we need?
You needed 4 successes. You have 6 plus the automatic extra one that you got from last round.
Okay.
That's 7
Because
rolls.
I just rolled 4.
Yeah,
There were 4 6s in mine, so
Yeah.
then we get
that's 7
extras from last. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So far. So
Okay.
if you want to roll to see it's still worth rolling though, Maisel, if you want to do that.
Okay. Okay, and then
Get it.
6. And then a stress. Cool.
I got a 6.
Wait, did Kit wanting to help me as well, or is that?
Sure. I mean, I would be rolling 8 plus 1 stress if I did ranged combat.
Okay,
No.
I did one too.
But I
I'm
don't know
rolling
what
7
then.
plus 1 stress. So if you want to do it and I can help you, that's fine. Whatever works.
I'm fine either way.
There's so many of us. There's so many of us shooting. Oh, I dropped a dice.
I'll roll, I guess.
Okay, go for it.
Okay.
And then is that one more then? If Maisel?
Yes. If Maisel's helping,
Yeah,
then
okay.
you add an additional one.
Okay, so that's 9 plus 1 stress.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my dice ended up on top of the other. That's 2 successes.
Okay, so that's a total of 9 successes in this instance. So here's what I'm going to say happens for right now. Demian comes back as you guys are holding off the horde. He comes back. He says, "I lost him. I don't know where. He's not close by. I don't know where he went." He says, I'm not going to follow.
Good idea.
Yeah. With that, Casey, you managed to gather up this group here, including like Chuck, Hall, and Demian, and you, Gabby and Frankie, and Kit, sort of leading the charge into this horde. As you're kind of going, Chuck looks around and says, "Well, we are neck deep in shit creek with our mouths wide open. Let's get these fuckers out of our house."
Good call.
And as you all kind of gather up, you kind of leading the charge in, you sort of mow through this horde. And as you go, the rest of this, I think, becomes just a systematic room by room as you go, and just sort of mowing down the dead whenever they step into your path. You go room by room, eliminating the dead, finding others who have either been cut off from the escape routes or just stayed back. And as you move forward, you find people like, you find Ron, who, in your wake, as you clear a path, get in behind and start, like, getting some of the other people behind to cover up, like, to, at the very least at the moment, barricade some of the vents behind you as you clear rooms. Room by agonizing room, you guys step inside, assess, take shots, move on, as those behind you barricade, and step by step, pushing forward, you go through, and you're not sure exactly how long it takes, but as the crowd behind you gathers, as people come from the places where they've hidden and taken shelter, your group moves as one, a single horde of your own, clogging the hallways and clearing them, a scourge on the invaders to your home. And you don't know how long it takes, because after a while you just fall into the pattern, and everything else fades as your group moves forward, growing by every room that you clear. Before long, the entire bunker is moving systematically. Different groups have begun doing the same thing throughout, communicating over the walkies and coordinating the grid. It might be hours. It might have only been 20 minutes. You don't know. What you do know is that by the time the last of the dead falls, you are all exhausted. But you hear over the walkie Shaw's voicing. All clear on the east end. Another voice. South side's clear. Main entrance is still swarming, but there's nobody inside.
Casey will take her walkie and just be like, West End's clear.
You hear Shaw go, all groups report in. Casualties. You start hearing kind of the reports coming in, Casey, as you sort of like hold your breath and listening. All in all, there are 6 casualties, 3 fatalities. The rest injured. One of those injured had an emergency amputation as they were bitten. But as you are listening, you kind of waiting for all this to come in, waiting for the worst news to come. You just hear Shaw say, "All right, I think that's everyone accounted for. It's over."
Casey, I think we'll into the walkie. We'll just say, "Thank fuck." We'll start cleaning up in a bit. Everyone, take a breath, and then she'll release the button, and just to those assembled near her, probably the people here, she'll just say, "Over for now."
Where the fuck did he come from?
Defense camps. And we take them out.
What?
I've seen him do it before.
This is the one we saw back in the gas station a few years ago, and again on the field. He brought that The horde at the high school wasn't an accident, was it? It was him.
Oh, yeah. He followed Gabby from the gas station to us in the high school.
I will say at this moment, as you're all listening to Kit's news, some pieces start to click into place. There was no way that your defenses could have been easily breached at the university. Not by a horde and not without you noticing. Not unless they were being directed. Not unless they had been let inside. And as you're thinking about it, you realize, as unprepared as the very first Haven was, it was still overrun much faster than it should have been. They were just suddenly there and on top of you.
Has he been following us the whole time?
We're dealing with something that we don't understand.
For 3 years, we've been followed by motherfucking Beetlejuice.
I wouldn't say his name a third time if I were you.
I'm sorry, that's not funny, but it is.
As this realization sort of washes over you, you all sort of sit for a moment in silence, and I think the unspoken thing that passes between all of you is that it's time for this to end. And I think that's where we will stop.
Vengeance Quest. Vengeance Quest 2 Electric Boogaloo. This time against an undead Lich. Fuck, God, Jesus
How
Christ.
do we kill
Frankie has never liked them, never liked Havens at all. Ever, and he doesn't even know why. He just doesn't like them, but this is so...
But you feel justified.
It's like, it's you! It's not the Havens, it's you!
It's you motherfucker! You've been following us since high school!
Okay, so now we enter a montage where we figure out how to set a trap. Right?
Oh, I'm so curious.
Lure the stripe out, and then like...
Casey just
on our
like
terms,
poking him in
on
the
our-
chest,
on
like,
our
what kind of...
I'm
Alright.
so curious what kids... I'm so curious.
Last thing we need to do before we call it XP.
Oh my god.
Alright, so all of you for the first question automatically get one. Did you participate in the session? So yes,
Yes.
you all automatically get one. Did you achieve something important? I
Yes.
think the answer to that question is absolutely yes. Definitively.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's another one for everybody there. Did you learn something?
Yes!
Yes!
Yep.
Pinstripe.
You definitely did not explore at least one new sector on the travel map. Did your drive, your issue, or any of your relationships make an impact on the session?
Yep.
Yes.
I think
Yep.
definitively yes for everybody.
Around the board.
Yep. And then finally, somebody did do a Dearly Departed today. So John, I'm going to roll a double low, and that's how many XP you get today.
Beautiful.
You get 2 additional XP.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, I'm so close.
What's the threshold again for leveling up?
I
you
leveled
need
up.
10.
It's 10.
I leveled up too.
There's 10 checkboxes on the sheet.
Level up.
All right.
Thank
Well, we went a little over what we normally do, so we're gonna go ahead and just dip out real fast right now. But thank you everybody so much for coming and joining us tonight. We will see you next week for the next episode, and we'll see you on Friday for Ramblemancy. But if not, we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night and good zone.
Don't let pinstripes in.
Don't do it.